Right, hello everybody and welcome to SRL. This is Tier 1 and it is round 4 of the season. Today we are at Portugal for the circuit at Algarve at Portimao. So, it was a chaotic race last week at the Paul Ricard circuit, where there's a lot of penalties going on during the race, but it was won by Tixi and Narastaha. That's the 1-2, separated by only 0.3 of a second, so they'll be looking to keep up that great form and have a great battle again today. Lord Gaben was the person who rounded out that top 3 on the podium as well. So, who's going to come out on top today at the Algarve circuit? Let's just wait and see. Okay, there we go. Right, so we are getting into Lobby's house. So we are ready up for qualifying. We've got Psycho joining, so he should be selecting a car in just a moment. But here we go. We've got a couple of drivers coming out on track now. They're starting to just trickle their way out of the pit exit. So we've got a little bit of a split strategy at the moment. Tixi, the only driver who's selected himself onto the medium tyres. Lord Graben on the softs. I think everyone else, it looks like, will be on the soft tyres. We've got Skillers out there on track at the moment, going around the circuit. In the Mercedes. He finished 8th last week at Paul Ricard, so he'll be hoping for another decent point score. Maybe a little bit higher. A couple more positions here or there. Still just going to look around at the tyres for now. The tyres have actually all disappeared because that's... There we go. That's better. Right. So, yeah, we've got Tixi. He's out there. Bubbles, it seems, is also going to be going out on to the medium tyres. So, he actually finished 10th. So, just about... I assume he finished the race. I can't tell because it's got the penalties next to it. But, yeah, he finished 10th last time out. So he'll be hoping for an improvement on that for sure. We've got, actually, I think that's Skillers following the McLaren of Lord Gaben quite close. Actually, no, it's Gaben behind McLaren. Where am I on about? Behind Skillers. Nugget Box, he is starting a lap. So Nugget Box, I believe, is going to be one of the first drivers on a hot lap. There's a Red Bull stopped out on track according to the minimap. We'll see that in just a minute's time. As here we go, we're going round the corner now. That's through Lagos. So now oh, that is actually a car stopped on the track, and that is going to be putting a lot of drivers off through their hot laps. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. It's Psycho, who apparently was in the pit lane according to the game, so I think that's a glitch for Psycho. That's really unfortunate. I think that was a glitch, and it put who was it? It put Nugget Box off massively on his lap. And for some reason, it's not letting me change that. Okay. There we go. Okay, now it's letting me change it. That's good, because that would have got quite annoying. So, here we go. Nugget Box. I mean, obviously, his lap is over. He's got a purple sector too, but that is more just by the fact that he's the first forward on track. There's a car coming up right behind him here. That's Noel. MRL Noel. I'm going to go for MRL Noel. I assume that's what he wants. So yeah, he's just backed off a little bit now, trying to leave a little bit of a gap to start his lap, because it's a long run now down to the first corner. It's a long, sweeping right-hander. Nugget Box sets fastest lap so far on provisional pole, but of course that is going to be beaten because he made a well, he didn't make a mistake. He was forced off the road by the car stopped of Psycho, and then Skillers, the first driver who wasn't affected. Then Lord Gaben, he's put himself up into P1 at the moment. That's a 16.9. That's a good lap time to start off with the driver who came P3 just last week. So let's see what Noel can do on his lap. MRL, I don't know which one he wants to do. MRL Noel. And just hope that's fine. There's a lot of very tricky corners on this track. A lot of undulations where you can lose the rear end very, very easily. This being the main one. You just want to be really careful on the front. There you go. Oh, and it's still so aggressive on the exit. A big snap of oversteer. But SRL Noel keeps on with his lap for the moment. He's going to the last section of the track now. As now he just comes in. Nice left-hander. SRL Emzo going P1 16.8. So just 200ths ahead of Lord Gaben. And now, as Noel comes around Sagre, he's going to come into the last corner. And he's invalidated. He's run wide on the exit. So SRL Noel losing out on that hot lap. And I don't believe there's anyone else on a lap by the looks of it. Yeah, there's no one else. Yeah, I don't believe there is anybody else on a lap. So we'll just wait a moment. Yeah, no. Tixie is not on a lap. 17.6, it's just not good enough. Those medium tyres not performing as well as the soft start as you'd expect on one lap pace. Obviously, question is whether he's actually heating his tyres up. So could we see a situation here where Tixie goes for another run? I think it could be quite likely. It looks like he's warming up the tyres now as he comes around Sagre. Coming up now to the final corner as Tixie in the Aston Martin winds up to start his lap now. Full throttle, early as you possibly can on the DRS. Get that active gain every thousandth of a second that you can down this long straight, the long run down into turn 1. It's not a heavy braking zone, but you want to avoid the inside curb. Then it's just right, and right again for turn 3 now, where you do need to brake just a little bit more this time. But now climbing up through the gears, the medium tyres look to be holding on quite well. That extra weaving, giving him some good temperature, some good grip in those tyres. And he is a 10th up at the moment. He's got to improve by more than that. And I think, realistically, it looks like Skillers is the only driver he's going to be able to beat, unless he made a big mistake on his last run. So he goes, this lap still continues coming around Samsung. Just losing the rear end just a little bit. As we now keep running as we ride up towards Portimao. There we go. Very challenging corner to get right, but he has done that very well. Got a good exit as well. A 10th.5 up. Purple sector 2 as well, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to have to gain a lot of time in this final sector if he wants to improve his position too much. At the moment, it looks like he could beat Skillers, but of course, that's assuming Skillers will not improve in the next 11 minutes of this session. So Tixie coming round to the final corner now. It's still that long run running out of ERS as he comes towards the end of the lap, and he's across the line. And he doesn't even get past Skillers, so it looks like those medium tyres, as hard as he may try, just does not have the grip to make this strategy work. So Tixie on the mediums, P5 at the moment. Bubbles is a quarter of a second up. He could get quite close to Tixie here. We'll have to see as he crosses the line. He does. He gets really close to Tixie. No, he does not. He did not. Okay, never mind. I read the 5 thousandths part, not realising that's an 18. So yeah, Bubbles just under a second away from Tixie at the moment. Anyone else on a hot lap? I don't think so. There's a couple of people on out laps. Is Nugget Box furthest forwards? It might be the... just looking around. Could be... Yeah, it might be the Dynamite and Dictaturen. When they're performing a very good slipstream. The Dynamite getting out the way here to let Dictaturen go for it here. So he's got a lovely bit of slipstream down the straight. This is going to be worth it easily a 10th or 2. He's on the medium tyres, and from what we've seen so far from those tyres, you need every 10th that you can get. But he's run wide and invalidated his lap. So that's not gone well for Dictaturen at all. Noel going on to the medium tyres as well, because obviously most of these guys know, actually with Psycho's disqualification, they know whatever tyre they qualify on, they will start on. Due to them all being inside of the top 10. Anyone else on a hot lap that we can watch? Tixie coming into the pit. So Tixie, Dictator, Dynamite. Obviously we know he's not on a lap. Now Starha, let's see what he can do, having been P2 just last week. Just going to work on some audio levels quickly, because I think that could do with being improved slightly. That's good. Got a lot of Discord notifications going off at just the right time. So just going to try to add the audio for the game as well. Here we go, actually. That could be a bit better. No, there's no audio. Okay, so for some reason, it's refusing to work with the audio, so... There we go. As hard as I've tried this, I tried for about half an hour before the stream to get the F1 game audio, and for some reason it just won't work. So, you've just got to listen to my lovely voice throughout the rest of this stream, but here we go. Nonetheless, now Stahad doing very well in Sector 1. It looks like purple Sector 1. So let's see if that can translate in the rest of the lap. Nugget Box going P1 with a 16.4. Very good lap. Putting 4 attempts on Emzo, and there's a big mistake from Narastaha there. Just losing the rear end, taking the curb a little bit too much. And the rear end saying, you've got to be kidding me, not enough grip there. And that could very well dampen this lap quite a considerable amount. He's lost a lot of time. Oh, and the rear end just looks so loose. It all looks so steady, so certain in Sector 1. But the rear end on the exit of all these corners now just not having it. Big snaps of oversteer. But Narastaha still going on with their lap. As, who was that? I think Bubbles has just set a lap. Bubbles has just set a lap, I believe. And across the line, Narastaha goes ahead of Bubbles. And despite that mistake, just behind the likes of Dictaturan and Tixie. Dictaturan doing his second lap as well. Skillers coming across the line now, quarter of a second up so far. This may not improve his position, but it will improve his time. And across the line, he does. He beats Garvin in the end. So there's a lot of time for Skillers in that final sector, and he was able to find it. Emzo as well, I think, has just finished a lap. That's a 16.6, so got a lot closer to Nugget Box, who set that 16.45. Anyone else coming up towards the end of the lap? I think that might be Noel. It is Noel indeed, as he's coming to the left-hander. I believe he's going for it. He is going for it. So Noel's going to finish off this lap. Let's see where he will finish, where he can put himself on those medium tyres. In the grand scheme of things, he's got the long, sweeping right-hander run up to the line. And MRL Noel crosses a line. And he goes up into P5. That's the second best run we've seen on those medium... Actually, I think it's the best run we've seen on the medium tyres. Because Lord Garvin, at the moment... Yeah, he's set his on the softs. That is by far the best run we've seen on those medium tyres. So Noel putting in a brilliant showing so far. And only 6/10 off of Nugget Box on the softs. And I think at this moment you're going to be quite happy that the stream audio isn't working, because there are a lot of glitches with the engine noise at the moment. So and Skiller's coming to the pit lane after finishing his lap, as has Emzo. So now we just wait a moment for these final runs to come in. If you're Noel, you're not really going to go for it again, I don't think. Starting anywhere near the top 5 on the medium tyres is certainly good enough. But now we do wait, just until we see some more cars starting to come out from the pit lane for, of course, their final runs. So Nugget Box is in a great place so far. He has got a pretty healthy lead over Emza. I think that's Skillers coming out the pit lane. Tixie has first, and they're on a set of soft tyres. So Tixie looking to improve their position for the moment. P7 on the mediums isn't too bad, but they're fairly worn mediums, so you're not going to get the advantage that you otherwise might have as the race goes on. Now Staha coming out of the pits as well at 17.5 with a lot of mistakes. All of a sudden not look as good, but there's a lot of time in that lap. And now Staha actually back out on the medium tyres, so giving it another go. Very much dedicated to this strategy. Tixie on the softs. Yet they're the only 2 drivers out on track for the moment. So Tixie is the furthest car around the track with Narastaha not too far behind. As Bubbles retires from the session with that 18.3, deciding not to give it another go, but starting on 5-lap-old worn medium tyres. That is going to be a pain. 5 laps. So, Tixie starts his last run on the medium tyres. Let's see what they can do. Now, you want to brake just past the 100-metre board, not take too much out inside curve. This is a lot better line from Tixie, but has got some traffic ahead of them, and that is getting out the way the Alpha Tauri of Dynamite, and they're setting up for another slipstream. This time round, Dynamite looks like the car behind who's going to benefit from it. Of course, given Dictaturan has actually set their lap. Tixie not going too bad so far. Let's see what the Sector 2 split's like in just a bit. There you go, just got to keep the rear end stable. Look, you can see the steering go so light as there's just minute corrections mid-corner. But Tixie still going on with this lap. All going fairly well so far. And that is the Mercedes getting out the way. Purple Sector 2. And we are 6/10 up with Tixie. 6/10, meaning if they can find half a second in the final sector, that will be enough for pole position and to displace Nugget Box. But we've got to see. There's not a lot of time to be gained in the final corner because it's flat no matter which tyre you're on. Tixie running up to the line, and it is P3 and just behind a 10th and a half from Emzo. Skillers starting his lap, but Narastaha, let's see what they're able to do. 3/10 up at the moment, which should be enough to go ahead of Dictaturan. But we will see as he gets across the line what that means for his positioning. There could be loads of time to be gained in the final sector. Narastaha goes up into P6 ahead of Noel as well. So that's a really good lap time. Gained a lot of time through the final sector. Noel is still remaining in the pit lane. And unless he comes out in the next couple of seconds, he will not get another run in. So I think that is MRL Noel's session over. And there's Dictator. I think, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. That didn't look like the best orchestrated slipstream of all time. But Dynamite seems to be going for it. Or are they? No, I don't think they are. Half throttle. So I think they're going to give it another go. And Dictaturan invalidated his lap. And they're racing each other as they go through the qualifying session. So Dynamite, I mean, he's going to get this lap in, but of course he needs to get another run in after. Well, they're still going side by side. The two Alpha Tauris battling in qualifying, contact in qualifying from the Alpha Tauris. That's not gone particularly well. Looking around the rest of the track, Skillers getting a good slipstream, but has invalidated their lap time. So about to start a new lap. So Skillers is going to start a new lap with an absolutely brilliant slipstream from Emzo in front. And Emzo, who I believe is maybe on a hot lap as well. I think Emzo's on a hot lap too. This just means that Skillers, I mean, yes, he's going to get dirty air through the corners, but also get the advantage down the straight of the slipstream. Just outbraking himself slightly there, make a bit of a mistake. This is good. We can commentate on two hot laps at once. They are that close together at the moment. Skillers to Tixie as the session time has now ended. So any driver about to start a lap, so Noel's session is over, and Dynamite, who will not get set a lap either. We've got Weberg, who's just come in, and that they'll be starting P10 by the looks of it. So who's ahead of it? It was Emzo. So Emzo, let's see Emzo's split. Emzo is the car ahead. We'll keep the selection on Skillers for when we need to. Quickly swap to them. Emzo is slightly down on their lap. Nugget Box has retired as well, so realises that they're not going to do too much better in this session. So it is now Emzo who is the main driver, looking like he can outpace and compete for pole. He has to find time in this final sector, but you have to bear in mind the slipstream that Skillers is getting as well. I think Skillers isn't going to benefit quite as much, but Emzo runs across the line and improves, I think, by about 1,000th in the end, 2,000ths in the end, and Skillers was down by 100th of a second. So now it's Lord Gaben who is 7/10ths down, so that's just not going to happen. And that is that qualifying session over. Nugget Box claims pole ahead of Emzo, Tixie, Skillers, Gaben, Narastaha with a P6 on those medium tyres. Medium tyres as well for Noel and Dictaturan and Bubbles. And then we've got to see with Weberg and the other drivers as well. So there is our grid for the race. No penalties to worry about yet, but we should have a good 30 odd laps of very exciting racing coming our way. As I just quickly drink. So the drivers just fine tweaking their setups to make sure that everything is as they wish for the race itself. So you can adjust your wing levels and tyre pressures as well in this time. A very tense time sitting on the grid as you don't know what could come further on in the race. All it needs is a bad start for a couple of the drivers and you could do anything. Even if you're starting at the back, the alternate strategy, they have no idea if that's going to work either, so we'll have to wait and see. So, here we go. We have the formation lap just coming underway now. So let's see what tyres everyone's on, just to make sure. Here we go. So yeah, everyone outside of the top 5 are on those medium tyres, as you would expect. Now we've got Nugget Box on the pole, Emzo, Tixie, Skillers and Lord Gaben as well in P5 on those soft tyres. So we're going to see them pit a lot earlier, but we have 33 laps of racing, hopefully very dramatic ahead of us. If it's anything like last week where it was separated the leaders by only 0.3 of a second, then we are going to be in for a very good race indeed. So it's a really important time of the race, yet it hasn't even started. You need to make sure that your tyre temps are up to how you wish, because a bad start can make or break your race. So here we go, the AI take control of the cars and the dramatics begin to rise. The drivers just sitting their heartbeat racing a little bit more. It's not the cars yet, it is their hearts, but Nugget Box actually has a massive gap to anyone behind him. He's going to have ice cold tyres once we get going. Here we go. We are just seconds away now. The drivers look eagerly towards the light gantry ahead of them, as they're just itching to get a hold on their throttle. Here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we are Go! 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 And who gets a better start? It is Emzo. Emzo already ahead of Nuggetbox and Tixie as well, getting himself up into P2. So Nuggetbox falling down all the way to P3. Lord Gaben getting himself up into P4, as well as Skillers on those soft tyres is around turn 1. So Skillers right at the back on the less good race tyre as well. So this is going to be a real struggle for Skillers to come back from this. And there was a little bit of a look there. Tixie just eyeing up in a move on the inside there on Emzo, but deciding better of it. Just trying to scare that Red Bull off of his line. And look at this, so behind Lord Gaben trying to put a lot of pressure on that Aston Martin ahead of him in his McLaren. The mirrors full of papaya for Tixie at the moment. And that is Viberg and Dictaturen racing each other. That is a move, I think, from Dictaturen. Always a big snatch of oversteer on the exit for the Alfa Romeo driver. But anyway, as we go back up front, there's Skillers just back here. Really bad start, but he is catching up already. His pace is better than the cars in front, so hopefully he'll be back onto the back queue of those medium runners pretty shortly. As, of course, Emzo sets the fastest lap of the race on this first run as they all run down towards turn 1 now. A great view of all of the cars, nose to tail coming down the straight. Nuggetbox is around! Nuggetbox might have clipped the curb there, and I think that is his race effectively over. He's right at the back of this queue. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but he's got Skillers right behind him now. So there's only 3 of the soft runners remaining out front. 2 of our top 5 already gone. And this is great news for the medium runners, because it means once they get the pace advantage, they have a lot less work to do. Now Starhard just needs to try to stay within DRS range of Lord Gaben as best as he can. He's there or thereabouts, seems to be the same pace, but has lost out just a little bit. In a couple of laps' time, though, those medium tyres will begin to come into their into their own, and he will be able to claw back that gap and just get within DRS range. In fact, he's done it now. That was brilliant under braking. Just got so much confidence, does the Mercedes driver. Obviously, DRS will be activated at the end of this lap, so he's just got to stay within that 1 second range. Psycho already picking up a 3 seconds time penalty. We saw quite a few in France. Could see a repeat of that today. The gap out front, though, actually, field spread is quite a bit at the moment, as I think the 2 Williams are struggling a little bit. Noel not quite got the pace to keep up with the Mercedes, and now Starhar ahead of him, and Psycho, despite a 3 second penalty, might be thinking about trying to get a move done sometime soon. And Dictaturen and Bubbles are going side by side. The Ferrari, the AlphaTauri. And he was forced around the outside line if he wanted to do it there. But he's got a bit of an undercut now, and he can get the cut back. He's using Slipstream. He's using DRS and DRS. Throwing absolutely everything at his disposal at it. And he gets past the Ferrari. Dictaturen moving himself up into P7 ahead of Bubbles. And now it's Weiberg's turn to give a look. But Bubbles with the Slipstream is going to want that position back fairly promptly. Oh, and there's a big mistake for Dictaturen, and he is around. And having just got that position back, or just gained a position on Bubbles, throwing it all away immediately and pick up a penalty for his troubles. So now we're going to look at Psycho. I think that's probably the closest battle on track, really, apart from Weiberg on the back of Bubbles. So he has good sort of battle going on here. And Nuggetbox has caught up quite a lot. He's nearly now right on the back of this medium train. Skillers as well is there. And I think Dictaturen has gone round again. He has. He's lost even more time. And that is not good news at all for the AlphaTauri driver. It's all gone so wrong so quickly. But the gap out front, Emzo, is slowly extending. Ahead of Tixie, 1.2 seconds now. Well outside DRS range. Same story for Lord Gaben behind. But now Narastaha with the medium tyres is going to be starting to apply a little bit of pressure now to the McLaren in front of him, because those tyres are going to come quicker and quicker relative to the softs as this race goes on. And Psycho and Noel incredibly close. Weiberg and Bubbles really close, as well as Dynamite behind. Nuggetbox has nearly now broken into DRS of the cars in front. Same story as Skillers and Dictaturen. 17 seconds back now, losing out a lot. Psycho's gone for the move. That seems like it was a massive dive bomb or a mistake from Noel. One of the two there. because Psycho did not seem close enough. I think that might have been a really good move from Psycho, and maybe putting his Williams teammate off just a little bit. But the story to watch at the moment is now Starhau as we're coming up around the penultimate corner now. Around Sagre coming up now, the final corner. Will Narastaha have what it takes on the straight to get close enough to think about making a move? He's not using any of his ERS. He has got a lot more of it than Lord Gaben ahead. A lot more indeed. And I think, you know what, if he used his ERS, that time, he might have got the move. And Noel's back past. And Viberg has got past Bubbles as well. So 2 moves going on there. Noel back ahead of his Williams teammate after what may have been a mistake last time out. Or just a really good move. But let's watch if Psycho gives it another go wide from Noel. Clever to run it out a little bit wider so that he doesn't get a warning or anything. Oh, it's a really ambitious move late on the brakes by Psycho. Definitely bound to put his teammate off. There's battling going on behind as well with Viberg and Bubbles and Dynamite and Nugget Box all racing each other. We will have a quick look at that in a moment. So let's see if there's going to be any moves coming into the corner now. There's not. Great exit from Nugget Box. He's got so much more traction on his soft tyres. And this is going to be round the outside. The Aston Martin driver on the AlphaTauri. Brilliant move. Getting past Dynamite. Great move round the outside. And a penalty for running wide. And we have rain. It is now raining. So we could see intermediate tyres coming into play in not too many laps time. But for the moment, it is obviously still dry enough for these tyres to work perfectly fine. And look at how much more grip Nugget Box has. He's easily going to get Bubbles here. And it seems like it could have been a bit of a mistake from the medium runner's point of view to start on those medium tyres, because they're getting the pace disadvantage now and they're not likely to regain it. And somehow there, I think Bubbles, great straight line speed, but it's up the inside. Oh, this is very, very ambitious stuff. Very dangerous, high risk from Nugget Box, but he has got the move done, has he? He's around the outside, keep it within track limits on the exit, which he does. So, Nugget Box. Are they still side by side? No, actually. I think Bubbles has had a pretty poor exit, and now around his outside, he's got the Dynamite going for it. And Skillers has got a great view of this, and now Bubbles losing a 3rd position as well. This is not going well for the Ferrari driver on those medium tyres one bit. And looking around the rest of the grid, Tixie has closed in a little bit. And Aristoha still can't get past. But Viberg and Nugget Box going for it. Around the outside, Nugget Box again. He has so much more grip on those soft tyres. Of course, when the rain starts to fall, the extra temperature you've got in those softs does help quite a bit. Let's see if Skillers can work his way through the field as well as Nugget Box has been able to. Skillers needs a straight line speed. Bubbles is outside of DRS range from Skillers. But here we go. Skillers getting the move done, hopefully, on the Dynamite, which by the looks of it, he is. And there's a little bit of contact nearly there. But up the inside, he does go, forcing the AlphaTauri off the track and not really leaving a lot of space to rejoin. So Dynamite potentially a little bit annoyed there. But Skillers does get the move done, moving himself up into P9. So now as we keep going, running a little bit wide on the exit is Viberg. And, Noel and Psycho going back at it again. These two Williams have been dueling all race. And they're still side by side going at it. But this time, Psycho coming out on top. Let's see when it comes to DRS again. Which one's going to be able to do well. We'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, there we go. Psycho staying ahead for the moment. But it's all closing up out front. There's a big gap. Narastaha getting quite annoyed here because Lord Gaben losing him a lot of time to the top 2. Just falling outside of touching distance at the moment. As the rain is still falling. It doesn't seem a lot heavier, but it is definitely just a little bit. So we're going to have to wait and see. But Tixie coming up. He's getting it. He's closing. Look at the overspeed. It's not quite there, though. He was closing a considerable amount. Narastaha has finally got past Lord Gaben as well, so let's see what his pace is going to be like upon the rest of the lap. And Nolan and Psycho going at it again! And Psycho, that was really well held, just losing the rear end a little bit there because there was a little bit of contact from the front left tyre to the rear right. As I should have bought more drink because I ran out 5 minutes ago and there's a lot of shouting going on at the moment, so this is fun. But yeah, as we keep going, Bubbles, he's lost touch and distance to Dynamite, who equally has lost touch and distance to Viberg, who's holding on very well to Skillers, actually, it must be said, given this tyre situation. And Bubbles picks up a 3-second time penalty as well for his worries, as we still are going round here. So Tixie, there we go. This is Tixie's chance. He is closing. He's closing. He's using his ERS. He's using the DRS. He pulls out to the right-hand side. Emzo trying to take the outside line to defend. Tixie up the inside. The Aston Martin getting P1. Tixie putting himself into the lead of the race. But has Emzo got anything to fight back with here? Once he gets DRS in just a moment's time, he might be able to have a bit of a comeback. Psycho picking up another penalty as well. And they're still battling the two Williams. Now Starhar slowly starting to close in just a little bit more. But Emzo not able to get past and regain P1 from Tixie for now. As we are on lap 9 out of 33 here. So nearly a third of the way through the race. It'll be interesting to see what Navistar's pace is like going forwards, or well, actually when or if we are going to need these intermediate tyres, because the rain is not heavy. It hasn't actually got a lot heavier than when it since first started. It is definitely a little bit heavier, but I think maybe we're quite a few laps off of needing anything like the intermediate tyres for now. As Psycho is back ahead of Noel. These two have been going at it all race, but now Nugget Box, recovering from that early spin on lap 1, is right on their gearbox. He's going to want to join in this battle, but it could prove to be quite dangerous indeed. And that's going side by side again. Oh, there's a lot heavier contact, and that time Psycho is around, and the Williams going off nearly into the wall there. I think he has avoided the wall, so he's got quite lucky. But now Nugget Box is going to want to try to get past Noel. He's just had a bit of a warning of what can go wrong if you're maybe a little bit too ambitious with your overtake. So he'll, of course, want to be avoiding anything like that happening to himself. I think he's had enough of turn 1 today after the start of that race. Viberg and Dynamite going at it. They're side by side on the exit of the corner. Let's see who gets the better exit. It does seem to be Viberg, and then Dynamite just giving up a little bit there, just giving up the position for now. But of course, he's going to want to try to fight back and get P8. Any extra points, of course, will help. Emzo just about holding on to DRS range for the moment. Nugget Boxo is on the back of Noel. So this is going to be, I think, the battle that we're going to watch for the moment, just because of how close they are. Viberg picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. So let's see. The rain is definitely a bit heavier now. It is absolutely heavier. The rain is picking up in intensity, but Nugget Box, let's see if he can bring a little bit of intensity into this battle, as he, of course, will want to try to close in more now on Noel. Just enough to get the move done. These medium tyres haven't come into their own as quickly as expecting, or Nugget Box's pace is just astonishing at the moment. Although it must be said, Nugget Box has been doing very well. He's staged a brilliant comeback drive here. And now look at this. He is so close. Noel giving it a little bit of a weave nearly. Just try to break the slipstream. Psycho and Bubbles going at it. This could well end in an accident. We've seen that from both the drivers so far this race. They'll be wanting to avoid that, of course. Going to keep an eye on what's going on between Nugget Box as well. So wait and see that in just a moment. Yeah, there we go. We're going to go back to this battle because, of course, now they're coming up in just a moment's time to the final corner, which is where the really interesting stuff starts to happen, because you're not going to get a move done here. But you definitely will down the main straight and into turn 1. And that's surely what Nugget Box is aiming for now, in just about 20 seconds time, to be the driver ahead of Noel and up into P5. Let's see, he's using his ERS just a little bit. There we go, he's properly going for it now. He's not. He has still got DRS. The DRS is still active for the moment. Psycho picking up another 3-second time penalty. Skillers coming into the pit lane. And Nugget Box is closing. He's closing. Left-hand side forced around the outside. And he has got the move done on Noel as well. That was a brilliant move from Nugget Box again. Doing very well this race with his moves. Making the most of his grip advantage on the medium runners of Noel in P6. So, Lord Gaiman just lighting up the rears on the exit. I think we're starting to see the issue now with these soft tyres. And Skillers has gone on to the hards. So, obviously, they're not expecting this race to at any point need the intermediate tyres. Because Skillers can absolutely go to the end of the race on those tyres. In fact, I imagine he can probably go to the end on the mediums. So, that's quite an interesting strategy call, actually. Yeah, if you want to hang it out just a couple of extra laps on the softs and then maybe give it a go on the mediums at the end, you'll be a little bit quicker. But Emzo has closed in a little bit more on Tixie now. I think Tixie not struggling with ERS actually. He's using it very well. He is saving it very well. But so's Emzo. He's not using it too much. He's using it a bit more this time. I think he knows this is his best chance. He's forcing Tixie into using a bit of his too. Tixie actually draining nearly all of his supply there. So he had a good 20-30% lead. Now he's only got about 15. And that is what we can see and expect to see going forwards now. So we have got the battle for the lead, the most interesting one on track at the moment, but Viberg and Dynamite are still going at it. Look at that, losing the rear end now. Though that hard tyre call might be a weird one, because it does look like people on the dry tyres are starting to struggle just a little bit more. But let's have a look at Emzo. Let's see what he can do, if he can pose a little bit more of a threat to the Aston Martin ahead of him. As Nugget Box comes into the pit lane, he's putting on a set of medium tyres. Nugget Box going to the end on those mediums, the alternate strategy to what Skillers is doing on those hards. Nugget comes out behind Lord Gaben, who's pitted, and obviously that's to be expected, but he does come out ahead of Dictaturen as well, just about. There they are, just behind. Struggling for traction on those cold tyres in these slippery conditions. But Emzo and Tixie still going at it out up front. As I think Emzo needs to start forcing Tixie into using more of his ERS, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to actually get this move done. Of course, Tixie needs it to defend. I think Emzo should start using a little bit more of it just to try to get rid of the advantage that Tixie has. Look, there's about a 10% advantage or so. If he can force Tixie to lose that advantage. Lord Gaben and Viberg going at it still side by side. Coming round the... God, this is brilliant stuff. Still side by side. And still side by side. They will be all the way down the straight now. I imagine. Who's got DRS actually? Oh, wow. It's Gaben who's got DRS. And into the pit lane comes Viberg on those medium tyres. That's an interesting strategy call. That means I assume he's going to go on to the hards. Bubbles picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. Very easily done on this track. And it is a set of hards for Viberg, as we expected. But Emzo still so close. This is a battle that's just teasing us at the moment. He is so close, but just not quite able to get past. As into the pit lane did go Tixie onto a set of soft tyres to the... wait, that means he's two-stopping. Hang on. Is that a case of Tixie will be two-stopping? That's a interesting strategy. Same thing from Lord Gaben, so they've obviously got the same thing in mind. Obviously, they do need to pit onto another set of tyres at some point in this race. I assume near the end they'll give it another pit stop onto the mediums for a lap or so. I'm not entirely sure where this strategy is leading them, but Lord Gaben is right on the back of Bubbles. Psycho picking up another 3-second time penalty. How many is that now? We'll have to see. That is 12 seconds for Psycho so far. As Lord Gaben is surely going to get this move done. And now Star has caught right up with Emzo, actually. We've missed that over the last minute or so. Wow, there's so much more grip for Lord Gaben as he gets a move done on Bubbles. So now it's Staha v Emzo for P1. Emzo does come into the pit lane. I think he might have nearly lost that position. The rain looks to be getting heavier still. Obviously, I don't think we're going to reach the point of intermediates. Maybe like near the end of the race. But it's going to have to get heavier than this. But it's definitely heavier than it was 10 minutes ago. Bubbles pits for a set of soft tyres. And I'm not quite sure what... That was a bit of a glitch there. As Skillers has got past Dictator, and Skillers having done a pit stop on those fresh, hard tyres. Getting past the Dictator, who looks to be really struggling on those mediums on the exit of the corners. Psycho looks to have a little bit more grip than Dictator and has been struggling around with. We have a yellow flag Dictator, and that's Skillers actually. That is Skillers. Skillers on those hard tyres. It might be, with the increased rainfall we're seeing, a little bit challenging to keep that car on the track, because those tyre temps are going to be, they're plummeting basically, frozen. So Skillers does lose out in the end by his own error. And now we've got Bubbles on the softs, who's going to be trying to close him down as quickly as he can in the Ferrari. And Lord Gaben goes side by side through turn 1 with Emzo. This is massive for the race. Emzo and Lord Gaben going side by side in turn 1. There was contact. Gaben forcing Emzo off the road. But of course, Gaben on those worn soft tyres, And Emzo on those fresh mediums. We'll have to see who can win out here as we want to ride off board. There we go, finally letting me do it. As they're still side by side, looks like Lord Gaben's got the advantage on the exit. But can Emzo fight back? It doesn't look like he can from the moment Skillers retires from the race. No surprise, he was really struggling with those hard tyres. It definitely seems like that's a little bit of a challenge for them at the moment. So Emzo and Gaben, they're still there. Still going at it. As actually Tixie is right on the back of Dynamite. So here we go, Tixie, the net race leader, but of course has to pit again because he's done soft so far. Will have to pit again, same story for Lord Gaben. But someone who doesn't have to pit again is Emzo. So I think Emzo's in a fantastic place now to win this race, realistically. But we'll have to see as Noel comes into the pit lane. He'll go to a set of soft tyres to the end. As he does. Psycho still going around to pick up another penalty. We actually caught that one. I think that's 15 seconds worth now. So we go Lord Gaben and Emzo going at it again. Gaben should surely get the move done. If he can have the grip, get the cut back. He does get the cut back, and it's a big mistake from Emzo. In the end, that was brilliantly defended, but I don't think it was on purpose from Emzo. Very creative defensive tactics. But no, got quite lucky with that and well held because that rear end did not look like it wanted to play ball at all. And the rain is definitely still heavier. It is progressively getting heavier, but again, we still don't know if it's going to get to the stage where we need to pit onto the intermediate tyres. Oh, big snap of oversteer from Gaben on the curb. Could be an indication of, yep, this track is really slippery. So, Psycho coming into the pit lane. Did he pick up a penalty on pit entry as well? Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, I thought I saw another penalty there. I was like, oh, no, not another one. As Dictaturan on 19 laps on those mediums. Doing a good job is himself, Dynamite and Namastaha. Still going at it. And Emzo should find it lap by lap easier to keep that McLaren behind. Because, of course, the delta between the two tyres will be decreasing lap after lap after lap. We have a yellow flag elsewhere on the track. That's the Alfa Romeo, sorry, of Weidberg, who I think is parking it up to retire. Maybe. Not. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I think that is him parking up to retire. So now anyone who finishes will be picking up a point for themselves. So a lot of happy faces out there on the grid. They know that no matter what happens out there today, as long as they finish, they will be picking up at least a point. I have another yellow flag. That is Weidberg's car just getting out of the way for the moment. And Namastaha still circulating out there on track at the moment. 16.8 second gap to Tixi. Let's have a quick look at the comparison. So Namastaha doing low 21s at the moment. Compared to mid 20, high 19 for Tixi. And into pit lane does come Namastaha. That doesn't surprise me. Last couple of laps, the pace had seemed to drop off. He was doing mid-20s before. The last few laps, it dipped into the mid-21s, which obviously, you don't want to see. That's just a little bit too slow. So Tixi will retake the race lead, but by how much, we'll have to see, because now Namastaha fresh, soft tyres, but only by 5 laps, so it's not going to be the easiest job in the world, but let's see what his pace is like Namastaha. So I think I said Namastaha last time, Narastaha. As there are, here we go, coming into the battle with, this is absolutely mental stuff. Emzo having to take to the curb to avoid contact. There's contact anyway, and it's 3 wide. It is 3 wide between Emzo, Narastaha, and Gaben. They're still going at it. Gaben picking up a 3-second time penalty, and then Narastaha and Emzo still going side by side. Up the inside goes Gaben. Gaben could get both of them here if he gets a good exit. Looks like Narastaha has made the most of it though. And it's still going. Look at that though. Gaben absolutely still trying to give it a go. And I think that might be it for that battle. Because now Narastaha, he's got other thoughts. He's got Dynamite just up the road. But he's got 9 seconds to close in on Tixi before the end of this race. He's got 11 laps to do it. We'll have to see if that's going to actually be remotely possible. It's going to be a real hard ask. Yeah, it's definitely going to struggle to do that. But he has already caught up considerably to Dynamite, who is 21 lap old. Medium tyres. I think the 2 AlphaTauris are just trying to see who can go the longest on those mediums. And finally, one of them does blink and comes into the pit lane as the Dynamite does box. Meaning we should see Dictaturan maybe next lap, or even at the end of this lap come in, because they are separated by enough on the circuit. So now Starhart 8 seconds behind. That's what he's got to close. 8-second gap in effectively 10.5 laps to do it. Dictaturan and Bubbles are having a great battle down into turn 1. Bubbles losing out Dictaturan up into... Actually, no, this is Bubbles trying to get the move done on Dictaturan. So he's actually closed down that pace quite well. Emzo and Gaben still are going at it. Those two will be, I think, until basically the end of the race. But Gaben's tyres should start to drop off soon. Of course, he does have to pit. Same story for Tixie. Tixie, of course, having to pit as well. So now Starhart actually is in a prime position to win this race. Because, yeah, as we can see here, Tixie has done soft and soft. Same story with Lord Gaben. They're the two drivers... Well, Dictaturan as well still has to pit, but they're the two drivers up front who are still yet to pit. Question is, when will they pit, though? As Narastaha, with his pace already, is closing in rapidly on Tixie. This is Narastaha's race to lose, because Emzo's just simply lost too much time battling with Gaben, and maybe the other way around as well. Gaben losing too much time. They're just holding each other up. They're just losing time to the guys in front. And there is not a long way left to go in this race now. And in that time... And actually, Narastar is catching up so quickly on Tixie. It's ridiculous. He is using those fresh softs, everything that he's got in them at the moment. Doing an absolutely brilliant job in that Mercedes. He is just closing and closing on that Aston Martin, eating out the lap time, lap by lap. So we're going to see Tixie and Gaben. When are they going to pit? When are they going to decide is a good time? I think we could see Tixie in just a couple of laps. Lord Gaben as well. I think they'll do it roughly the same time. Although it must be said, I think Gaben might do it before. Yes, there we go. Gaben does do it before because he is on slightly more worn tyres. Let's see what tyres he goes on to. Now, if this is a set of softs, I'm going to be really surprised. It will be a set of mediums, which it is indeed. Yeah, I know the game might have told him that that strategy was quicker, but I really, really, really do not think it is. So, it's an interesting call in the end. Will Lord Gaben get out past Dynamite? No, he will not. So he's got a lot of work to do here. Will he get out as well ahead of Psycho? No, he will not. So again, a little bit more work for him to do. He's come out in a little bit of a battle here. So there we go. Here is where Lord Gaben's come out. So let's see what he can do. And Narastaha catching rapidly on Tixie up front. And Emzo, with that pit stop, has now got a bit of clean air ahead of him. But he's coming under pressure from a resurgent Nugget Box. After what happened at the start of the race, I don't think we'd have been expecting to see Emzo and Nugget Box racing each other again. But I think that's a testament to how much time Emzo's lost battling Lord Gaben and how much time Nugget Box has gained from just driving a brilliant race. So this is the closest battle on track at the moment. Nugget Box and Emzo. The Aston Martin and the Red Bull, still with the special Red Bull livery. Absolutely lovely car. So here we go, Nugget Boy still going at it, as I did need a rest there because my throat is not enjoying this at the moment. It's been a very action-packed 27 laps so far, and I think we're going to expect a little bit more come the end of this race because now Starheart is closing in a lot on Tixie, who of course is still yet to pit. And Nugget Box, he's got a lot more grip than Emzo. He is right on the back now, absolutely giving it his all. So much later on the brakes, a lot more confident. Oh, just a little bit of rear end instability. Just a little bit too happy with the throttle pedal. Is the Aston Martin of Nugget Box. And Bubbles is into the pit lane again. Thought he'd happily make it to the end of the race, but evidently he chose not to. Viberg's left the session as well after that retirement. Parked it up himself, realising the race wasn't really going anywhere for him. And now Starha right on the back of Tixie as well. We will go to that battle in just a moment, see if anything else shapes up here with Nugget Box. Of course, Nugget Box does have the penalty, which means unless Emzo gets one, then I don't think it's going to be too much of a risk for that podium. But Nugget Box will still want to say that he went from effectively last to the podium. So he's going to give it his all. He's going to try to get past, but Emzo knows he doesn't need to fight it too much, because it doesn't seem Nugget Box is going to be able to pull out a 3-second gap without a big mistake somewhere. So let's have a look now at Narastarha. We probably will miss the move there, but this is more important. This is for the lead of the race. Tixie obviously still needs to pit, so I don't know when that's going to happen. But now Starha's closed in over a second a lap on average nearly. He's been absolutely rapid at closing down this gap. It looks like he's got so much grip on the exit of the corners, very stable, got a lot of ERS to play with, but so does Tixie, to be fair to him. And this move cannot be far away from Narastarha. Psycho picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's not enjoying himself out there today with the penalties. Still might finish ahead of Dictaturan though, so might only lose out to Lord Gaben behind. We now have 3 drivers in DRS, and I can only see some of them at once. I can only see one of them at once, so this might be a bit of a challenge, so we're giving it a go. But I think this is the most important one, really. Battle for the lead on track. And here we go. This could be the move. Now Starha pulling out to the left-hand side on Tixie. Might have the move done even before braking. He does. And there we go. That is absolutely brilliant stuff from Narastarha, taking the lead of the race. Well deserved. Played the strategy really well and doing really well at the same time. Putting in a great performance. As is Emzo, it must be said, still holding off from Nugget Box behind. And yeah, I think that's the battle sorted for now, pretty much. Apart from Lord Gaben on the back of Psycho, but we'll have to wait and see if anything comes of that. Oh, it is a big mistake from Psycho. Psycho off the track. Wow, that was a pretty dangerous rejoin. Psycho as well pick up a 10-second time penalty. I've seen that happen to quite a few people. If you lose the rear end there and spin across the track, you do pick up an instant 10-second time penalty. So Yeah, you know, that's absolutely not what you want to see at the moment. But for Psycho, he's just got to try to carry on driving as he is at the moment. He's still got a good lead ahead of Dictaturin, and even with the 10 seconds, might still be in with a chance of holding on to that P8. Only lost 3-4 seconds from it in the end, so could have been worse. So, as we still look around, not a lot going on at the moment. Still Nugget Box and Emzo are going at it. That's still ongoing. Emzo's done a brilliant defensive drive so far this race. Done very well. Tixie has got to come into the pits soon. He needs to pit. Surely this lap. Should still come out ahead of Noel as well. Tixie still hasn't pit. Still. Must do soon. Emzo will want that P2 after all. Worked very hard for it this race, so yeah, he definitely will. And Lord Gaben is on the back of Dynamite, still wanting that position, so here we go, Lord Gaben. He's got past Psycho, albeit in slightly easier circumstances, and this one may end up being, of course, with Psycho spinning. So Lord Gaben, he's got brilliant exit. Look at how much more grip he has, how much more traction he's got. He made a little bit of a mistake mid-corner though, and that might cost him. It looked like in the early stages of the corner he might have been able to do it, but just, I think, honestly, I think in a dry he'd have made that move work really well. But with these slippery, wet conditions, it's just that little bit harder. And Tixie has to pit this lap. Tixie has to box this lap or will be disqualified. And he does come into the pit lane. There we go. Which makes you wonder why he didn't just do soft to medium. Very curious. But Emzo does take that P2 now. And he's got a good gap behind it. Emzo's, he's done great, to be fair. To fight off, when Psycho picks up another 3-second tap, but fight off, you know, he's had drivers behind him pretty much all race, just battling him. So he's done a great job here. Nugget Box as well, absolutely brilliant drive to be able to come back from just the issues at the start, spin on the first lap. He's done an absolutely brilliant job too. And, you know, to even be in a position where he's able to battle Emzo, of course, he's got a penalty, unfortunately, whereas Emzo doesn't. So it does take a little bit of bite out of this battle. But, you know, just even to be in a position where he could pick up a podium here and is likely to pick up a podium, you know, he's done an absolutely brilliant job. Again, apologies for there not being any actual game audio on the stream. I genuinely have no idea why. The OBS, which I'm streaming on, genuinely refuses to let me do it. But Narastaha has led for the last several laps. He's put in a brilliant drive, and he has won round 4 of SRL here at Portimao, and he has got a massive lead from Emzo behind. It's going to be around 14-15 seconds as we cross the line. A brilliant display by both of these top two. Brilliant display as well from Nugget Box, who should absolutely hold on to that P3. He will hold on to that P3 because Tixie making a very odd strategy call. Very odd indeed. going soft, and then pitting onto the medium for the last lap only. Very weird strategy call, but Tixie does get it in the end. Then we've got Noel. He's put in a pretty decent race as well after battling with his teammate for most of the early part. Dynamite gets ahead of Gabe, and so Dynamite getting P6, very good finish. Psycho go across the line with about 50 seconds worth of penalty. No, I'm kidding. How many penalties has he got, actually? We can't see. That's great. We can't actually see. He's got a lot of penalties, basically, and there's still a chance that Dictaturen can get this P8. We'll have to see. This could be fairly close, not too short. And Dictaturen finishes P8. He does get Psycho by 2.3 seconds in the end. Bubbles pick up another 3-second tail penalty. It's not been a great race for Bubbles, but he comes across the line. There he is, doing it in style with a lovely bit of drifting. And he picks up the final point as well. And that was a pretty dramatic race, wasn't it? So, very well done to all of the drivers involved. All done a great job. And GG's all round, I believe, as they would say. Yeah, they've all done a brilliant job today. Put on a great race for us. A lot of action. So, there we go. Thank you guys ever so much for watching tonight. We'll give a quick rundown of these results. We've got Narastaha taking up the win from 6th on the grid, doing a brilliant job. Then SRL Emzo, then Nugget Box rounding off the podium. Then it's Tixie, Noel, Dynamite, Gaben, Dictaturen, Psycho, Bubbles, and then our 2 retirements being Viberg and Skillers as well. So there we go. That was a brilliant race here at Portimao in the Algarve for the Portuguese Grand Prix for round 4. Not quite as close as it was out in France, where the leaders were separated by only 3/10 across the line, but there was plenty of drama with battles all through the race to keep us entertained. So, thank you guys all for sticking with us throughout the stream tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure. And I'm just going to quickly make sure that I haven't been asked to do anything. No, that all seems all good. So, I think Tixie might have had an issue with the tyres, maybe, because it was a weird strategy, but he's a little bit angry with the game. So, maybe he had selected other tyres and it didn't let him do what he wanted in the end. So, as I said before, thank you guys for sticking with us. Tonight's been an absolutely great show, and the drivers have put on a brilliant performance. So, and Nugget Box did exceptional. I think he's probably my driver of the day. Unfortunate, he picked up the penalty early on, which meant he couldn't really battle for that Battle Emzo's position at the end. But nonetheless, still very exciting stuff. So thank you guys for watching tonight, and goodbye.